Hello, my name is Philip Jeffrey, and I have cancer. In January 2006, I was diagnosed with a type of cancer called multiple myeloma. This is one of a series of videos I'm creating that deal with the sort of process of my last 5 years living with cancer. On this sort of tape, I'm going to focus on what it was like to find out I had cancer. So in 2005, I wasn't feeling well at all. I was feeling as if sort of a weight was on my body. I was feeling lethargic. I couldn't really focus, couldn't really concentrate. I didn't know what was going on. I finally decided to go and see a doctor to sort of try and figure this out. In December, I went to a doctor, explained the situation. I didn't know if it was nerves or stress or whatever, and they decided to do a blood test. I didn't hear anything, and I thought, okay, maybe everything's cool. In January, they contacted me and said, hey, we'd like to come in and do some more tests. And so they did some more blood tests. They didn't mention anything, and they also did something called a 24-hour urine. I then found out that when I was contacted by the doctor again, and after a little more discussion, that I had something called anemia. Anemia is where you feel sort of tired a lot, you have problems focusing, and on top of that, the anemia, which relates to something called multiple myeloma. And multiple myeloma is a type of cancer that affects 1%. It's 1% of the cancers in the world are from multiple myeloma. In addition, I found out that multiple myeloma is twice likely to occur in black people, and that it begins in the plasma cells. So and the doctor told me this was serious because they knew I had a multiple myeloma, but they really didn't know the levels I had it at, because what was showing was that my levels were around 40 IgG, which means that it's very, 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 very high, and that this is pretty serious. And so I was told that 2 days later I was going to have something called a bone marrow test. I was freaked out a bit because I'd heard about bone marrow tests, and all I know is that they are painful, and that your worst enemy, you don't want to even wish to have one. So I purposely didn't research on Google, I didn't hit Wikipedia, all those sort of like those curious things. That's not me. I'm like, okay, having bone marrow tests, let's just calm down and deal with this. I went into the hospital early that morning. They were all there. I then went to the floor where I was going to be getting the bone marrow test, and the same doctor that there was a doctor there that was going to administer it, as well as a couple of nurses were there, and they then put me on my side. They then froze the area because the bone where my where my belt is, that's where they did. So they sort of propped me up on my side. It was a little bit uncomfortable. They had a little pillow put on me, which was good because then I was sort of like, I don't know, crying into the pillow. That was good to have a pillow there. And they first froze the area, so I couldn't really feel the pain. And then they seemed to I didn't see the needle because they had everything smartly. When you're getting bone marrow tests, they actually cover all the needles so you don't get freaked out, because it's easy to get freaked out by this sort of stuff. And it didn't seem to be a regular needle. It seemed to be more of like a needle with this sort of like hook thing. It seemed that the doctor was like turning it in to my bone. And then I'm not really sure the process. It seemed like turn it in, and then they take us some bone marrow, and then they turn it in, take us some more turn it in, take us some bone marrow. I was trying almost to disassociate myself from the process. So I'm sure you can Wikipedia to understand how the process is. But I purposely didn't want to see what the needles look like or how large they are, because even though today I've had so many blood tests, I really don't like needles, I don't like blood, I don't like things getting poked in my body. So after that was over, I then went home, and that sort of began the process of getting a variety of drugs leading up to my bone marrow transplant later on that summer, and that involved my own sort of bone marrow cells, and I'll discuss that sort of process in a later video. Overall, just looking back, I found everyone to be super professional from my different stages of here living with cancer, and then from the initial process, people were calm, helping me remain sort of like calm myself, because having no idea what multiple myeloma was, what this cancer was, what it meant about how my life was going to change, I am glad that everyone has been so helpful and friendly towards me throughout this process. Thank you very much. Have a great day.